Well, we are so excited to start. Kathleen Caldwell here, founder of C-Suite Network's Women's Coaching and Consulting Council. We're just jumping in, okay, because we have got a powerhouse speaker today, and we cannot wait on International Women's Day to get the party started. So here we go. So delightful that you're here. Our theme for this week is how to own it. Oh my goodness, how to own your power, your presence, your profits, and ultimately your success. And so we could not think of a better speaker to talk about how to talk about your presence. So I'll introduce Sheila Anderson in just a moment, but I'm Kathleen Caldwell, founder of the C-Suite Network Women's Coaching and Consulting Council. I'm a speaker and author, a lover of all things success, and most importantly, the ballroom dancer to partner to my beloved husband, Michael Caldwell. So we've got to have, the personal and the professional all working for us, because today's topic is about presence. So are we really present in all of the areas of our life? And of course, we know we're a present to everyone as well. So here we go. International Women's Day. Oh my goodness, really spectacular day. And I have to say, we reserved this date and this moment in time for Sheila Anderson. We're so excited to have her speak. And, there's a long history, of course, of International Women's Day. We're not going to jump into all of that now. You can do a Google search, but it's a storied, long, rich history about empowerment of women. And I believe in our council, when we empower women, we also empower the men in our life, the children, the families, and the community, and the world. So that's how we roll in our council. Our whole week about power, presence, success, and profits. Yesterday, we talked about power, and it was a powerful program. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it was really great. We had great interaction. We had great thoughts about this, and of course, next steps. And just a quick recap. We talked about old models of power that really don't work for us anymore as a civilization. Power, that the old ideas of what it meant to be powerful. And we had a really great discussion about that. So we invite you to think about for yourself, because our event this week, our summit, is all about new beginnings and also a professional, spiritual, and personal growth opportunity. Okay, so, thinking about what does power mean to you, we had a great discussion about that. And we also looked at, really how will we own our power and not having power over others, but really, I think the most important thing, the real secret to all of this is having power with others and power together. Okay, so that's our theme for day one. Be sure to watch the replay. It was excellent. Really enjoyed it, because we have our YouTube channel. We are so thrilled, and we so appreciate you, here live and watching the replay, that between all of our clicks and our views and everything of our events, we have over 50,000 clicks and views. So we so thank you. You're finding a lot of value in our programs, and we want you to join us. So go to our YouTube channel and take a look. You're going to enjoy it. So it is my pleasure to invite to the podium and invite to the stage, our global stage, which is growing, Sheila Anderson, my dear friend, my colleague, esteemed faculty member of the C-Suite Network Women's Coaching and Consulting Council. Sheila is a speaker, an author, a wonderful person, a cook, a branding expert, author of the beautiful, beautiful book, I See You, and it's all about having a return on image. And so we couldn't think of a better person to talk about presence today. We need it more than ever before. So I'd like to invite to our stage Sheila Anderson to come in and talk about presence, and she's a present to us, of course, and branding, and how important it is as we move into what's next for each of us. So please take yourself off mute. Let's give a little sparkle fingers and a little rah-rah. Sheila.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Kathleen. Oh my goodness. I am so excited to be here, and thank you for the honor of speaking today for the Women's Coaching and Consulting Council. You're doing amazing work here, and I just absolutely feel fed by all the content. So I am just gonna just give you some more bite-sized nuggets that you can hopefully take and do some amazing things with. So today we're gonna talk about owning your power with your presence. So I'm going to talk a little bit about personal branding, and then I'm going to share towards the end of my talk, I'm going to give you 10 tips on how to up-level your look. So stay tuned for those. It'll be fun. So, all right, personal branding. Let's talk about that. If I were to ask 5 of your closest friends what one word comes to mind when they think of you, what would they say? And if I was to ask a complete stranger on the street after they just met you, what one word comes to mind after they met you, what do you think they would tell me? And what are those words you never want used to describe you? And if you're like most people, you probably haven't given it that much thought. So, my main question to you today is, how do you want others to experience you? Because you are the chief experience officer of you. And being with you should be an experience, and being in your presence should leave people yearning for more of you. So, as humans, we interact with about 80,000 people in our lifetime. And you think, I don't even know that many people. But it's people that we know, and it's people that we don't know, people that we're passing on the street, people that may look at our social media profiles, may send us a chat, all those different things. And all those different touch points tell a story about who you are and tell a story about your presence and your personal brand, your values, your strengths. People can gather all that information by just quick little milliseconds of interaction with you. And so you have to think about every touch point that people have with you is either strengthening your brand or diminishing your brand, because everything communicates. Everything we do, everything we say, and yes, everything we wear sends a message. So we have to be mindful of how we're putting ourselves together, because our brains are wired to interpret things visually first. So the brain looks for trust, and it looks to see if I can trust you. And it will base those elements of trust on several different aspects. So again, the brain is wired to interpret things visually first. So the brain's going to look at somebody, whether it's a photo of you online or if they're just meeting you at a networking event, they're going to sum up who they think you are based on what they see visually. And so that's really important that we are presenting ourselves in a consistent way and an intentional way. And so going back to the very first things I talked about was what is that word you want to own in the minds of others when they think of you? And so coming up with what I call that brand word or that power word is where you start building your personal brand. So that's always the number one question was, how do I even start building my personal brand? And it's coming up with that brand personality, those words that you want people to think about when they think of you. And then you think about, what does that look like in terms of your visual identity? And your visual identity, again, it's the clothing you're wearing, it's how you're grooming, it's even your Zoom background nowadays, because we show people, meet us on Zoom. It's your social media accounts, it's the imagery you're using, it's all that. So we have to be really mindful of how we're putting ourselves together and making sure that there's alignment between our power word and what we want people to see. So we have to make sure that there's a connection there, because if there's a disconnect, then our mind dismisses it and distrusts it. And also, an interesting thing about our brains is it's on automatic mode most of the time, like 90 something percent of the time. Our brain goes on automatic mode. So it's scanning our environment or different things throughout the day, and it's anything that's kind of the same. It's like, okay, that makes sense, that makes sense, that makes sense. But once it sees something that's unique or different, it stops and it starts focusing on that. And so I use that analogy for you to stand out, right? In that sea of sameness with everybody, you have to have that somebody else's brain go, ah, that's interesting. Let me stop and take a look. Let me lean in and learn more about this person. And also another thing you have to think about is personal branding. It's not all about you. It's about that value you bring to other people in a way that nobody else can. And just like building a corporate brand, we have to have our own set of core values. So I would urge you to come up with your core values for yourself. What are your core values? And what are those strengths that you have? And again, you begin to develop with your power word, your core values, your strengths. All that then becomes that foundation of how you build your personal brand, how you're going to interact, how you're going to speak to people, how you communicate, what's your body language like. And so let's just pick one word. Let's pick a word that says detailed. So maybe you want to be known as detailed. And so everything about you has got to be detailed. If you're showing up on Zoom, your background has to look absolutely put together. Every little detail is taken care of. Your look has got to be detailed. Your hair is combed very nicely. There's no lint. There's no wrinkles on your clothing. All those little details. When you send me an email message, you have all the details in your email. So everything has to point back to that word. So think about like, what is that word that you want to own in the minds of others? And again, that's how you build your brand. And what can a personal brand do for you? What's that power of a personal brand? That power is it can attract for you the right clients. So not just any client, but it's that right client. And what happens is a lot of people aren't very intentional or consistent with how they're showing up or how they're presenting themselves. And so there's confusion on, who they are, what value can they add for me? And what you also want is to become top of mind. That's the main goal, is when somebody's thinking of a coach or a consultant in whatever space that you're in, you become top of mind. Because I always tell people need to know you before they need you. And how do I know you if you haven't gotten yourself out there? If you haven't put forth your values, if you haven't shown up on podcasts, if you haven't posted content, if you haven't gone to networking events. So there's a lot of different ways that we can use our personal brand to get our message out. And some people say, well, is it my reputation? What's the difference? It really kind of is your reputation, but there's more thoughtfulness to it. It's you controlling that versus and having a strategic plan about how you're showing up versus letting other people just decide, what they think of you. Also, personal branding, you just don't do it for 6 months and then put it on a shelf and it's done. So it takes about 2 to 5 years for people to have a really strong personal brand, for them to start getting traction and start getting noticed. So it's daily habits that you're doing. So think about what you do on a daily basis that could help you build your personal brand. So set aside maybe 20 minutes a day. Maybe you're going to write an article. Maybe you're going to work on your signature style, how you're looking. Maybe it needs to be refreshed. Maybe your Zoom background needs to be a little bit refreshed. Maybe you could go be a guest on a podcast. So you start looking at podcasts, and have a point of view. Kathleen is always, always, always so good about reminding all of us that we need to have some type of point of view to be a leader, to be an amazing coach, an amazing consultant. And we want to get our thought leadership out there. So you have to have a point of view, even if it goes against the grain. And if that could be part of your personal brand. Maybe you have a boldness about you. So you're going to go against the grain on what's happening out there, and you're going to voice your opinion on it. So don't be afraid of that. Don't be afraid of having a point of view. That is something that I struggled with learning at the very beginning, is having that point of view. What if I say something and somebody disagrees with it? I mean, there was that level of confidence that wasn't there. So there's all different aspects that we have to work on with ourselves, but we continually chip away at it, right? We continually become better, and that helps build our presence, that helps build our posture, and that helps build our confidence. And so what I want for you is to have this overall calming confidence of who you are. I don't want you to be somebody you're not. We hear this all the time about being authentic, being who you are. But it really has to, who you are internally, you have to have that figured out first before we can bring that out in your personal brand. So it's not that you just create something and, okay, this is what it's going to be. It has to be in alignment with who you are internally first. So again, going back to what's your first step, you come up with your word and then you start building that out. And then there's different ways that you can get your message out there, your thought leadership, you can do public speaking, all those different kinds of things. So that's a little bit about personal branding, how you get started. There's power in that. And in the economy that we're all experiencing now, it's just more important than ever now that you get out there, you start building that thought leadership, because a lot of people are going to start pulling back, and they're maybe not going to spend marketing money. That's one of the first things that people pull back on, is that marketing money. And that's such a great thing for you to get ahead of right now, because if people start pulling back, you're only going to stand out more. If you're starting to invest and you're out there and you're marketing when everybody else is pulling back, and you're going to stand out and you're going to be a lot more visible. So I'm going to now jump into, I'm so excited. I'm going to share with you some tips on how to elevate your image. Of course, I do personal branding. I've done corporate branding for 30 plus years. But one of my favorite things that I love is that visual aspect of someone's personal brand, which becomes they're creating that signature style for somebody. So their favorite place to shop is their own closet, right? That should be your favorite boutique, is to walk into your closet and be like, man, this is so amazing. And you don't struggle with what to wear. So we're going to jump into that. So give me a little grace. I'm going to pull up my presentation. And if you want to, you can put in the chat maybe some things that you learned, or a quick takeaway, or maybe it's that word that you want to be known for. That we could talk about that. So okay, let me all right, it's coming up.
Sheila, while you're moving over to your slides and your 10 tips, we cannot wait to see that. Was that amazing what you just shared? I am so in awe. Deb, if you'd like to jump in and
It's fantastic.
goodness, yeah. A master class, Sheila,
I
in
love it.
branding and image and presence and point of view, and what the world now needs is for all of us to move into that.
Well, and I think one of the things that's so important is that it's always something we need to be conscious of. Look how many times we meet someone in person, and maybe we're at a networking event and we see them one way, and then we're on a Zoom with them and it's totally different.
Yeah.
Now I do try and differentiate between, okay, this person's at Walmart, and so they can be in their sweats. But and I especially now that we're on Zoom so much, I see people and I'm like, this is a different person. And whether it's that maybe their background is disorganized, or they're like me and they have a t-shirt on, and
but we can have our comfy days, right?
know. We're on Zoom so much now. There's no excuse for people to not have a good Zoom background. Even if it's just a screen behind them to cover up that they're in their bedroom or in their kitchen, we need to be conscious of that all the time.
Yeah. Thank you so much. That's great information. So are we able to see the PDF file?
Yes, thank
Okay.
you. Thank you. Great. Good
Okay.
points, Deb. Really good points.
Oh, thank you for that. That's fantastic. So I'm going to use you a little bit as I'm going through some of these tips because you had a perfect a perfect example.
I'm happy to help. You know that.
A perfect example. All right. So I'm going to share with you how to make your look appear more expensive. So this is good. You don't have to spend a ton of money. These are just, I'm going to give you 10 tips. So the first tip and the most important tip is fit. Making sure your clothes fit. This is the number one error that I see people make. So men very often don't have a problem getting their suits tailored. Women, on the other hand, oh, how come it doesn't fit me off the rack? And then for them to think about having something tailored, that just, they can't go there a lot of times. So I will tell you that 80% of my wardrobe has been altered. And so you can take even a $50 blazer and take it in and get it altered to fit your body. And then it looks custom and it looks tailored and it looks like a $500 blazer now. So fit is extremely important and that will always up level your look. Neutrals. Okay. Sometimes bright colors, which I love, can make us look cheap, especially if it's done in a really not a high quality fabric, but bright colors can make us look cheap. Now, again, we're talking about how to look a little bit more expensive. So neutrals are a great thing for all of us to have in our wardrobe. It can be navy, it can be gray, it can be chocolate browns, any of the brown colors, it can be that black, whatever that is. And then those creams and whites. So any of those neutrals will help up level your look. And anytime you do a look from monochromatic, anything one color head to toe, always looks more expensive, always up levels your look. Even in the summertime, if you're going to maybe a summer picnic and you're putting on shorts and some type of t-shirt, if you do it monochromatic, it's still going to look a little bit more dressed up. So just a little tip for you. And monochromatic doesn't always have to be the exact same shade of navy head to toe. It can be a dark navy and then maybe a medium navy. So there can be some tonal differences there, but just think about that. Will up level your look. Adding a statement piece. So choosing one piece of interest. So it's a really amazing necklace, or it's a really bold earring, it's a handbag, one statement piece. If you think about your look, if you're in monochromatic, how that's going to stand out, that one statement piece is going to be and have some type of interest to it. I don't want you, we're at a level with the Women's Coaching and Consulting Council that I don't want you to look ordinary anymore. I want you to take a chance and I want you to start have a little bit more courage to what you're wearing. So think about a statement piece. Hairstyle. Hairstyles are the first things that can make us look dated. And I want you to change up your hair a little bit, at least yearly, and be able to wear it a couple different ways. Even if it's short, maybe I can pull it a little bit behind my ear. Maybe I can make a little bit more of a bang that day, but change it up a little bit. And nice shiny hair, there's spray shine you can put in a little bit if you need a little bit of help, but have your hair look healthy and current, and that will always up level your look, and you'll look like you make more money. And that's what we want, right? Shoes. People can judge your income based on your shoes. There's a University of Kansas study that did that, and it showed that people really can look at your shoes and decide maybe what income level you're probably in. Whether it's accurate or not, we don't know. But however, shoes, people judge that and they look at that. And so then make sure there's no scuffs on them, all that type of stuff. So, and have more courage with what you're wearing. Have an interesting shoe. some type of interest to it. It doesn't have to be over the top. Like this heel is quite over the top. Something certainly I would do, but just, pay attention to the shoes that you're wearing. And then a statement bag, because it's a symbol of identity and your taste. And think about price per wear per bag. So this is where you can invest $300, $400, $500, $600 on a nice real or vegan leather, whatever you prefer, bag that looks amazing. And if you do it in a solid neutral color, that's going to, again, price per wear. You have to think about that. So come up with a statement bag. This one is really a great one, a great color. It's got that fun little detail of that chain, so there's a little bit more interest to it. You could tie like a little scarf around it, something like that, just to add a little bit more pizzazz to it. Okay, so the next one on how to look more expensive, how to make your look more expensive. Avoid visible logos. So this makes you look common, can often cheapen that look. So you see, I'm looking over here at my screen as well, but you see on this slide that they had this Gucci t-shirt. So just be careful with that, especially in a business or a professional or, a networking event. You can do some of this stuff if it's a little bit more casual, a casual thing. So, but again, we're trying to up level that look. So, all right, Deb, get ready. So the 8th way to make your look more expensive is layering and adding that third piece to your outfit. A top and a bottom is not an outfit. Sorry. You have to have a third piece to really have an up level look. So it's a cardigan, it's a jacket. It's always adding a more finished look to you. And it adds depth and interest. And another third piece we could add is scarves. And so Deb, when she first got on today, she said, she threw on a quick necklace. So that's a really good lesson for all of us, is to have different things at our desk so we can be quickly Zoom ready, whether it's a necklace. Deb's got a basket of scarves to throw on that third piece. So scarves are a beautiful, look at, she's got a selection of necklaces. And then Kathleen is so good about wearing beautiful, beautiful scarves, and that just always elevates you. So think about what's that third piece that you can add to your outfit. Okay, number 9, the 9th way is choosing quality fabrics, those silks, the cashmere, the wool, those really, really quality fabrics. We don't want anything that's going to pill, cheap looking polyester fabrics. So think about quality fabrics that you can add to your wardrobe to up level your look and to look more expensive. Isn't this is a beautiful dress, right? A beautiful, beautiful silk dress. Okay, the 10th way for you to up level your look is maintaining your clothing. And this is really, really important. You have to pay attention to all the details of your clothing, right? If there's loose buttons, if there's, I don't know if you guys can see that, I can just enter that. Loose buttons, if there's rips, there's wrinkles, there's stains. I have a steamer that I have purchased and I travel with it often, or I have it in my closet with me that I can quickly steam out wrinkles. But you should go through your wardrobe at least yearly and check if is there any peeling on your clothing? Is there any stains? Is there any rips? Is there anything that you maybe need to get fixed, right? You have it. We all should have a good tailor. Thanks for Sarah. Nice to have you here. We should all have a wonderful tailor in our back pocket that can help us maintain our clothing, help us alter it, help us get that really, really amazing fit. So again, those were 10 different ways that you can up level your look and to look more expensive. Fit, again, is number one. It's number one priority. We have to think about that. your hairstyle. Let's make sure we keep that current. Let's update that yearly. Just a little touch will help. And you have shiny hair is really good. And then adding those statement pieces, right? Those necklaces, those points of interest to a monochromatic outfit is always going to elevate you. And again, I want you to have more courage in what you're wearing. Right. Don't be the same old, same old. Again, this is the Women's Coaching and Consulting Council. And I want you to have a more elevated look. And I want you to have a little bit more boldness in what you're wearing. Take a risk. I would rather have you get it all wrong with a risk than to play it safe and do nothing at all. So take a little risk, have a little fun with that. Statement bags, again, always good. Coming up with a great bag. I know Kathleen has a beautiful Louis Vuitton bags and it's perfect, high quality, high end, always appropriate with all her looks, totally polished. I love it. It looks amazing all the time. That third piece, right? Don't forget to add that third piece, those jackets, those basket of scarves by our desk as we're getting Zoom ready. And the quality fabrics are really important for us to have in our wardrobe. And one last tip I'm going to tell you is 80% of your wardrobe should be spent on those basic pieces. And 20% can be spent on fashion trends. And those fashion trends, if you're buying them, the quality of fabric maybe doesn't have to be as high as it is for those basic pieces. So those fashion trend pieces, have fun with them. Don't spend a ton of money, spend 20% of your wardrobe on those because they're going to be in for a season or two and then you're going to get rid of them. So I don't want you investing a ton of money in those. And one thing that a good way to do that for trends is you can do that with your accessories. Right? You don't have to maybe buy a shirt or item on clothing, but a great way to incorporate some of the trends and to keep that cost savings down is incorporate it through some accessories. So this year, the color of the year is magenta. I love this color. Kathleen is all over this color. It's so her color. The color of the year is magenta. So think about how you can incorporate that in a look, a head to toe look. Beautiful, right? That can up level that look, or maybe it's a magenta necklace or a scarf or a magenta pump, right? A magenta heel would be beautiful to add to your wardrobe. So again, those are some tips for you on how to look more expensive in your look. So I have a gift. I know Kathleen's going to cover this as well. So I'm going to stop sharing. And let's see here if I can get to the stop share. Here we go. All right. So that, hopefully you got some tips. Kathleen, I can't hear you if you're, there we go. There she's coming off mute.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Wow. That was incredible, Sheila. Really great. Yes. And I put in the chat your opportunity, and we're going to complete here in just a moment. That was fantastic. That was a masterclass right there in how to own your presence. Yeah. Really great. Yeah. And we so appreciate, Sheila, your point of view on, hey, it's time to have the courage to upgrade our looks, right? To convey who we truly are now and who we are aspiring to be. So thank you. Really great.
Yeah, thank you. And so my offer is like that 20-minute image consult with me. You get 20 minutes to ask me your most burning question, right? Maybe it's like, hey, does this work for me? Or do these really go together? Or, I have an image question or a personal branding question. So you get 20 minutes of me. Gorgeous. To ask me whatever you want. So it's a gift. And I don't know, Kathleen, if you have that.
I do.
Hey,
yeah.
Perfect. I'll let you. Thank you for having me.
Oh my goodness. So fabulous, Sheila. Really incredible. And this is a masterclass right there in how to own your presence and upgrade our presence and look as great as we feel and bring it out to the world and shine our light, right? There's so many great metaphors with this. So thank you. Yes. And we really are so appreciative of you, Sheila. And this is for our Women's Coaching and Consulting Council. So if you're watching the replay, we know we get a lot of ladies and gentlemen watching the replay. This is for men too, right? I mean, I think time sensitive. So jump on and schedule your time with Sheila. And just as you said, bring your most burning questions, and just great. I mean, just to have this opportunity with you, Sheila, is wonderful. Thank you for that. So yeah, great. So thinking about for us as we complete our time together is, thinking about what's emerging for you as a result of Sheila's presentation on how to own your presence, and thinking about what's really important to you. And, when we're done with our masterclass here, I highly recommend, as I do myself, I take a moment, take a deep breath, take a sip of water, and I just simmer for a few minutes in what were the biggest takeaways I had. And of course, what am I going to do about it? And of course, take advantage of this opportunity to have a conversation with Sheila. That's really key. And of course, we invite all of you to join the C-Suite Network Women's Coaching and Consulting Council. We want to promote you, showcase you, highlight you, give you a platform to rise and shine. The world needs to hear you now more than ever. And so schedule your time with me on Calendly, really simple. Kathleen Caldwell, let's have a conversation about where you're headed, because where you've been is really important, and where you are and where you're going is what I'm committed to. So with that, and join our beautiful community. And then tomorrow, as we complete our program, tomorrow is all about success. How do we own our success? Let go of the imposter syndrome. I like to call it the poser problem. Okay. How do we let it go and fully embody success? Heart, soul, mind, business, life, the whole thing. So tomorrow's about success. And then Friday, Trisha Ben, newly promoted CEO of C-Suite Network. Trisha's going to bring it all home and talk about the importance of success, prosperity, profits, and how we can really be ultra successful as a coach, consultant, trusted advisor, thought leader in the world. So with that, come join us tomorrow. This is our Success Summit tomorrow, Thursday and Friday. We're celebrating International Women's Day today with Sheila, and International Women's Week. So thinking about for yourself and take it away, think about your biggest takeaway and your big next step. So with that, we'll complete our time, and we so appreciate each of you being here. And our commitment is 47 minutes, because 47, the number, means spiritual and life awakenings. So we hope you've enjoyed our program today. Bye for now. Thank you. We'll stop the recording. Great.